Jera says the Cowboys aren't tanking. Believe him?
I used to think I was indecisive, but now I'm not too sure.
Eject this.
Hold up. It's the Chargers Squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
What is up? Midweek, and it's the midweek. Welcome to the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. Pete Fox covering sports in LA dating back to 2007. Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the league, 3 rings, and Jim Daniels covering sports in LA back to 2001 for NBC Sports Radio, where we worked together. Today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season with FanDuel, visit their website, fanduel.com, and place your NFL live bets all season long. Here's what we're going to get into today. Jim Harbaugh had a lot to say after this win over the Chiefs, was pleased after watching the tape, called it a physical victory. We're going to decide whether or not they can do more and be more physical. Harbaugh praised the offense and the defense, not surprisingly, but he says, I found this interesting, and I want to talk about this first. They're taking it one play at a time, one day at a time, one game at a time, dealing with the injuries. Do you find that surprising? And lastly, Jera says the Cowboys aren't tanking. I don't believe it. Do you guys? We'll start with the offensive line. KB, we've talked about this a lot, and I wanted to jump in because it's a topic for us pretty regularly as to the game plan and how they handle all of these injuries. And Harbaugh said he praised the offensive line in spite of all the injuries. They haven't altered the game plan, is what he says. Are the replacements just getting more comfortable with what's happening on this team and therefore playing a little bit better?
Listen, in the game, in sports in general, it's all about reps. The more reps you get, the more comfortable you get, the better you get at what you're trying to do. And so for these guys at the beginning of the season, when they were going through all these injuries, there was a lot of shuffling in and out. You can't catch a rhythm. One week you're playing, the next week you're not. Mekhi Becton is playing, then he's out, he's in, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of in and out going on, so you can never truly find a rhythm. But now that they've settled in and they've allowed the guys that they thought would be the guys to be able to help this offensive line sit in games, go through the fire, be in the fire, we've gotten better. We've gotten it's night and day from where we were week 5 and week 6 and week 7. Still an issue, right? There's still pressure. We're still giving up a ton of sacks. I think we had 4 last week. But nevertheless, the offense has progressively gotten better over the course of the season.
What do you think about where they are with the scheme and the game plan, Jim?
Yeah, I think they are getting used to Herbie and Herbie getting used to them. I think this is a comfortability factor between the two groups of they're learning how they can pull this off together. I mean, we've been asking, is Herbie running this much out of design or is he just doing that on his own? I think the whole thing is it's kind of like the whole thing is gelling, like the whole offense is understanding how we can what we can accomplish and how we can go about accomplishing that with this group of people. And I saw what you flashed up there a minute ago, and yeah, Penny did play great at right guard this week. And that's a confidence thing. So getting him in there and then having some confidence and going to Kansas City and smacking the Chiefs around, that got to help you a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this was a physical win, and that was one of the things I read first off for Harbaugh. Pleased with what he saw watching the tape, a physical victory. Yeah. Are we pleased after this, after it's sunk in a little bit? Do we feel like they can do more? Because I was watching Colin today, and they talked about the Chargers a little bit and had some interesting things to say, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But KB was kind of the one sore thumb that you brought up after the game was that you would like to see it a little bit more from the running backs in blocking. Pass protection. Yeah, we need a little bit more there. And again, it was only a few times here and there, but it was definitely something that can always be improved on. And I think that comes back to the lack of depth at the offensive line and the issues they're dealing with. So after a few days, is that still the one thing that you'd like to see more of? Because I would like to see more ball in the air, right? We want them to run the ball, but I feel like they could have thrown the ball more. And that's the thing I kind of would like to see more of. I feel like we've had 2 games where the passing game has been a little bit, and granted they're wins, so I'm not complaining, but the passing game has been a little bit on the back burner.
Well, a couple of things. You asked if we're pleased. Is fire hot? Yes, it is. I'm still pleased with the way this team came out and played against Kansas City, not at home, but out at Arrowhead. So absolutely, I'm still pleased with that. And then when you get to the pass protection aspect of it, as backs, you never want to be the guy. I mean, that's kind of the mantra throughout, whether it's offense or defense or on special teams. You never want to be the guy that costs your team. You never want to be the guy that gets the quarterback hit. And so you're going to lose. That's just the nature of the game. And I said this last week, you just want to do more getting than you do the getting got. And so for the backs, you have to secure that up, because we already leak in the offensive line. So you don't want to add on to that issue. You don't want to add on to that problem of now we got to worry about the running backs and protection. And like we talked about at the end of the game this past Sunday, they got better in the second half. Kamani Vidal absolutely was smacking dudes in the face at the end of that game. So it's I think for Omarion Hampton, he has to get more comfortable within his blocking scheme, because even earlier in the season, he's still making some of the same mistakes that I've seen in the beginning of the season. That's not something that you want to see. And so they have to get their eyes right early, identify who your prime guy is, whether it's the Mike, the Sam, or the Will, and identify where your secondary threats are from the slot, coming out from the slot position, whether it's a safety rotating. It's just a lot of little things that you pick up on as a back that can help you in that space. Outside of pass protection, I want to get to what you said. You said you want to see the ball in the air more. In the NFL, come playoff time, you got to be able to run the football. You have to be able to run the football. You're going to be playing in cold weather. You might get some rain. You might not be able to pass the ball as much as you would like to or as much as you're accustomed to. So you have to mature this running game. And especially with Omarion Hampton coming back after an injury and missing a good portion of the season, you have to get him in rhythm. You have to get him in routine. So now he's comfortable in the run game as well. But outside of the pass protection and the run game, one thing that we have to get better at, and what I meant to bring up on Sunday, we got to get better at the punt return spot. I didn't like what I seen from Ladd. Letting the ball hit in the ground. He allowed the ball to bounce. I think it went to like the 8-yard line, where if he catches the ball, he has maybe 5 or 6 yards of space before he even reaches a defender. So we have to get special teams firing so they can contribute to this game as well.
And if we're going to throw the ball more, let's just make sure that it's Herbie doing it and not Keenan Allen. Okay, if we're going to throw the ball more. Sorry, I want to pile on my boy. I mean, I love Keenan a lot, man. But I mean, we could have work on that play a little bit, that back pass thing a little bit, if we're going to try and run that. I would like to see. I would like to see Hampton. Look, I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass because lack of reps. You know, he had to sit a lot and he wasn't able to get out there and do some pass protection. So maybe he's a little bit behind in that. I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass on that. But I know he's having that conversation with his coaches too. They're saying the same. You know this, KB. They're saying the exact same thing. We're seeing some of the same things we saw early on. And that can't happen. It's got to advance. It's got to get better. And I think it will. I think this is a great confidence booster. And I like, again, what you put in the lower third a minute ago from one of our listeners saying that this team has heart. This team has monster heart to be able to believe and buy in after the losses. I mean, you got people, the talking heads on all of the network shows that wrote the Chargers off the minute Joe Alt went down. They said, that's it. No protection for him. Herbie's running for his life. They're done. They wrote us off weeks ago, and they're making people eat it. This is back-to-back 10-win seasons, y'all. Yeah. Right now.
Edelman was on with Colin today, and they're still doing it. They were writing off the Chargers, today, saying the offensive line, you can't win. You just can't win. I mean, they didn't even get into, well, maybe. No, it's just like the way their offensive line is, they cannot win. So I look at that and I look, obviously he's doing a show to a national audience, and the Chargers are not in the conversation right now as a top seed. They're a 5 seed, and they're rolling right now, and they're playing well, and that's good. And the fact is that this mantra that Harbaugh said that they've been working with for the last few weeks, one play at a time, one day at a time, one game at a time, really seems to be, working for them. I think that is a fantastic way of looking at it. I know it's got to be enormously hard. I mean, that is professional sports, right? We hear that all the time. Don't look forward, got to worry about the here and now. KB, what is that like? How hard is that to do? One game at a time, one play at a time, one day at a time, all of that.
It's really not that hard because that's all it is. You know, I mean, obviously at the beginning of the season, you're looking at who you have, right? Okay, we got this game, this game, this game. But once you get into the flow of season, you're never really looking ahead because you're so locked in on what has to happen that week to get ready for that game. And you have to take care of that one before you get to the next game. When you do look past teams and you do look ahead, that's when you see teams slip up and get beat. And it's clear and it's evident, or a team's not taking another team serious. But it's really not that hard. And your job as a professional athlete, your job as a head coach of a professional football team is one, to be able to keep your players focused, and one, as a player, as an athlete, is to be able to be a professional and lock in on the thing that's at hand and be where your feet are.
Just do your job. Do the one thing. You had one job. So yeah, I think it's definitely something that is working for them. Another thing that I came up with that I was curious about, which we're going to talk about after the break, getting ready for this Cowboys game. How about them Cowboys? Would it be nice to blow this Cowboy team out, or would it be more beneficial for them to win another tight one? That's what we're going to talk about next. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, where you find David and Daniel Monday through Friday with the Locked On Daily Chargers podcast. And of course, we thank you for making us the #1 sports podcasting network out there. All right, today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad show is brought to you by Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Boy, isn't that true? Rocket Money helps you get clarity that you need, and more importantly, that you want. Track every dollar and stay in control of your finances, because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you, so you can save more and stress less. Seeing all your spending on one dashboard makes it easier to understand where your money is going. I remember the first time I had a dashboard with my bank, and it showed me how much money I was spending on entertainment and food and gas, and I was blown away. When it's broken down like that, I was like, I spent that much money on gas, so I got an electric car. Take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. And don't waste money on unused subscriptions. Oh, worst. 16-13 over the Chiefs. 6 of 7 for the Chargers. They got it rolling right now. I look at this Cowboys team. Jerry Jones said, "We are not going to tank." Yeah, just the mere fact that you brought it up means you're like, it's going to be in their head, right? Yeah, nobody says we're tanking. Yep, we're tanking.
Nobody comes out and says that.
Right. So obviously, the fact that you referenced it at all means that it's a thought in your head. Mm-hmm. So I feel like maybe they're not outwardly tanking, but they're not the Chiefs tanking. The Chiefs are obviously going to tank. They're going to go out and just screw around for the next 3 weeks. But the Cowboys have a 1% chance, and that's, so you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Yeah. So they're not going to.
Bizarre quantum metric. It says that at 6-7-1 they can make the playoffs. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Right. So they're not outwardly obviously tanking, but they're going to come out and play for a little bit. But if the Chargers start to put their foot on the gas, I have a feeling the business decisions, KB, are going to be a lot more in favor of health than winning this game or trying to come back. So when you look at a team that is like on the edge of being out, and by the way, here's the Chargers playoff scenario. It's not terribly complicated. It is a Chargers win and a Texans or Colts loss, and they're in. And the Colts are playing the Niners. So I feel like Chargers get this win, and the Colts will probably lose because Grandpa Rivers, although it's a fun story, and I don't care about the Colts, but I had to turn that game on and watch Grandpa Rivers run around.
Yep.
It was fun. I appreciate the story. I don't know if there's ever been another grandpa that's played in the NFL, probably, but it's just cool. But I don't think they're going to win. They're not going to get better. And the Niners are a good team. So if the Chargers get this win, they're in. So would it be better for them to go out and just put their foot on the throat of the Cowboys and cruise to victory with a big confident win, or win a tight one like they have been winning over the last couple of weeks? Tight over the Eagles, tight over the Chiefs. The reason I ask that or say that, it sounds crazy, but when you are doing it regularly and you get that kind of confidence, sometimes teams develop an identity where they're like, this is this is who we are. We're a team that wins tight games. Jim, what do you think would be better for them?
Everybody likes an easy day at work, right? Everybody likes an easy day on the job. If the Cowboys decide that they're not completely invested in the health and the future and blah, blah, blah is the direction that they want to go, we'll take it. I mean, I don't want to have to beat actually quite opposite. I don't want to have to beat our brains out in order to get a win on this team. These guys are not very good defensively. Actually, they've risen up a couple of times and played a couple of games defensively. But as a whole on the season, they're not a very good defense, and the Chargers should be able to put up points on these guys. I think the question is going to be on the other side of the ball, and how invested is the defense going to have to be to shut down Dak? Dak has had a great season. You can't deny that the guy's been out there slinging the ball, and he's been getting it done. It's not his fault, air quotes, that they are where they are. But yeah, I'd like to see an easy time of it. I'd like to see everybody coast through the fourth quarter and catch a break. Sure.
KB, is that a dumb question to ask?
No, it's not a dumb question at all. But listen, we don't need any more close games. We don't need any more dogfights. We're at the tail end of the season. Listen, we've been in a 23-20 game. We've been in a 21-18 game. We've been in a 29-27 game. We've been in dogfights that 22-19, 16-13. We've been in enough dogfights, okay?
Yep. Yeah,
and
that's
in
their
those
identity.
It is, right? And obviously this builds resilience. It prepares you for the moments in the playoffs that some teams don't face all season long. And so it prepares you, right? And the question for teams that are constantly blowing guys out is, can you win a tight game? And oftentimes when the talking heads are talking, when they talk about these games and they think they're going to be close, they oftentimes go with the team that's been through the fire. And in these close games, listen, it requires a lot of energy. It requires a lot of effort. I'm okay with a blowout. I'm okay if we come out and go up by 3 touchdowns, and can coast into victory, secure a playoff spot, and then potentially rest our guys going into the last game of the season. I wouldn't be mad at that. Obviously, it would be nice to win the division, right? But I think health would be more important than going out and winning the division.
Here are the numbers. This is a polarizing team, this Cowboys team. As Jim's just stated, their offense is very good as far as ranking goes. Total yards, number 1 in the league, 395 to over 400. Passing yards, number 1 in the league, 258 to 288. Points in the game, number 4 in the league. Rushing yards, they're middle of the pack at 15. Third down conversions, 42%. And Dak's throwing it completion percentage at 69%, which is pretty good. So he's had a good season. Yards per pass, 7.6. But on the other side of things for the Cowboys, their defense is awful. 29th in the league total defense. Points allowed, 31st. Points, passing yards allowed, first. So at the end of it, they're the worst. Rushing yards allowed, 15th. And what did they talk about sacks and who's leading things with sacks? But anyway, yeah, so their defense is got a lot of holes, and that could be a thing where the Chargers just start to pull away. And I think that's got to be the game plan. You got to put your foot on the gas early, score some points, and then take their will away and feel like this game, they don't have anything else to play for. And, they're officially kind of done. And I look at this and I say, yes, that is a better way to me of winning this game. Just win it comfortably and feel like, to me, that would be a better confidence builder when you say, look, we've gone through the storm a little bit over the last few weeks, and look how we are standing now. We come out and we're feeling good about things, and a confident win would absolutely be positive. And the fact that Jerry's talking about not tanking means that like the next thing he needs to say is we're not going to fire our coach, because the second he does that, right, the coach is on the hot seat. It's very rare that a guy says, "Oh, confidence. We have confidence in our coach," and then that coach is around. Not very often.
I think this team should, whether it's a blowout, whether it's a tight game, the way that this team has found a way to win, that should be the confidence builder that this team leans on. Never mind a close game or a blowout. The way that they've been able to move pieces on the chessboard, figure things out, and continually win. This team should be confident as all get out. Yeah, I understand it doesn't look the way that we want it to look, right? It is not as aesthetically pleasing the way that we've won a lot of games and we've taken a lot of damage in these games. But nevertheless, I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, the objective of football is to win. And this team has done it, and they've proven that they can win with or without their best players being presently available. So the confidence, I don't think comes from winning in a tight game or a blowout, but it simply comes out when we look around this locker room and we see what we have. Maybe from a roster standpoint, we're not on paper, we're not supposed to stack up, but yet we still find ways to beat the bad teams and beat the good teams. So that's where the confidence comes from.
Now, and it's going to be on the defense to get up on Dak early. And I mean, you need to send that physical message early that this is going to the way that it's going to be, because we don't want to come out soft and let them be the first ones to score to where we're chasing them. I don't want to chase Dak all day long, trying to catch points and all of that. I don't want to do that. That's not what we do. We like to get out in front and hold people off and smack them in the mouth. And that's what I'd like to see with this one right here. I would like to see them come right out and score on the Cowboys immediately. This is a serious offense against a pathetic defense, and we need to set that tone right away, I think. And if they do that, I think that will set the tone for the rest of the day, and you will see them tank by the time the fourth quarter rolls around.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor is the physicality that Harbaugh talked about early in the week after watching the tape. If they get that, right, if they get more of that, that's the thing you have to build on, hang your hat on, and continue to do, because we saw what happens when they aren't physical. The Jacksonville Jags game, that was an embarrassment. So if they, as I said, play the polar opposite style like they did against the Chiefs, right, they're going to be tough to beat. Now, are they a Super Bowl contender? Colin doesn't think so. Julian doesn't think so, because of the O-line. To be honest, I don't think so either, but I definitely think they have the ability to make a run, to be interesting, to be a tough out in this postseason. Right now, they're not in yet, but I feel like they,
Mr. Carter.
This is the week. Mr.
Carter. I think it depends on what happens around them. Look, anything goes in this game. And I don't want to wish bad luck on anybody, but man, we see it all the time. Somebody steps off the plane and they turn an ankle or something like that, or something happens in practice or warmups or something like that. Anything can happen. These guys, Colin, he's paid to push our buttons, number one, but number two, it's also his job to stay chalk, to go with, the big team, his audience. That's what his audience wants. But what I want to say about this is the team. I'm losing my train of thought here. I mean, what I want to say is that this team has the opportunity to go out there and be physical to get things started. I think what we saw in Kansas City is the way we would like to see this team play defense all the time. And I think that, takes all the pressure in the world off the offense. It's not so much about where you leave them on the field, but it's like what you're doing and what you're allowing the other team to do and how much pressure that puts on your offense to have to, get points on the board.
I remember, go back to 2017 with that Philadelphia Eagles team that we won the Super Bowl with. Carson Wentz goes down with 3 games left in the season, our starting quarterback. We were the number 1 seed in the NFC, and once we got towards the end of the season, everybody was picking us to lose. Nobody thought we would get to the Super Bowl losing our starting quarterback. We were an underdog in every single playoff game that we had at home. We were an underdog against the Atlanta Falcons, an underdog against the Minnesota Vikings. Then we go on to win a Super Bowl. Obviously, you're an underdog against Tom Brady. So all these talking heads, that's exactly their job, to talk, right? Once you get into this tournament, it's anybody's game. anything can happen. All you have to do is get hot at the right time and ride that wave, and who knows where you'll end up. So, you could look at this roster on paper and say, there's no way, there's not a shot, right? But at the end of the day, you still got to go out and play the game.
Yeah.
And what this team has proven game in and game out, outside of the New York Giants and the Jacksonville Jaguars, is that they can win a football game that they're not supposed to, or nobody thinks they're going to win.
Mhm.
So their job is to talk. The player's job is to play. So if the Chargers can come out, as we've been talking about, with that aggressive mentality, the way that they came out versus the Chiefs, it can't just be a Chief thing, right? Because you know who the Chiefs have been in this division. It can't just be an in-division thing. You have to take that same mentality that you got that fired you up to go play Kansas City, the way that Tony Jefferson played, Derwin played. That physicality has to, now that's the standard. It doesn't dip below that. When you look at the Baltimore Raven teams, those defenses they had with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and all those guys, they were a physical bunch that no offense wanted to face, because they knew it was going to be a long day. It was going to be hits, it was going to be punishment, it was going to be physical, and it was going to be pain. And when you are limited, as this roster is on offense, your defense has to be what it has to be the catalyst that takes you to that next level. And what they did last week versus Kansas City showed that they could be that.
Your Honor, a quick redirect, Your Honor, if you will, Your Honor, on the is this a Super Bowl team? It depends on who you play. Where I was going with my twisted ankle thing is, what if something happens and the Bills aren't there? Do I think the Chargers can beat the Bills in a playoff game? Josh looks pretty committed. This guy looks like he's on a mission. That guy wants to be in a Super Bowl. He's been denied a lot. Mahomes and those guys are out of the way. So my answer, are they a Super Bowl team? It depends on what happens in the world around them, because there are plenty of teams in the AFC playoff bracket that the Chargers can get over on and get to a Super Bowl if somebody else takes out maybe the tough one.
Yeah. Oh, that's a huge thing. That's in any sport, right? If you have a nice road, for sure. And I think that's a big part of it for where this Charger team is right now. As a 5 seed, reportedly, the matchup would be, if they stay there, they would face the Steelers. And we know how that goes. Yeah. I like that matchup a lot. I think, the Steelers haven't gotten much better, maybe a little bit better than once the Chargers took care of them, but they sucked the life out of them, right? So I feel like that should be a huge motivator for them to stay at no worse than the 5, because if they get the Steelers, that is a nice road. I mean, we saw it with Dodgers. Dodgers had a nice road this year, and that worked out good for them, right? So, getting the Cincinnati Reds early. So that's very, very important. And I hope that is a factor for their motivation. Like, we got to keep this train rolling downhill and keep playing some tough football. So as we get ready for the Cowboys, we'll talk a little bit more about the defense. It was a big part of the win over the Chiefs. Harbaugh with a shout out to Tierra Tart and Deshaun Hand, liked what they did this weekend, and we'll get more into the defense after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. And again, we appreciate you for allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Locked On, the #1 sports podcasting network out there. Today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. I have a funny story about live betting. One year, it's 2012, I want to say, when the LA Kings won the NHL Stanley Cup. I was at a lot of those games working, and I was live betting them while I was working. I know that's against the rules and all, but fire me. The fact is that the Kings were notorious that year for going down a goal or two and then coming back and winning by 2. So I would wait for them to fall behind, and then I would bet on them to win the game by a goal or 2, and the odds for paying in that situation are always really good, which is one of the great things about live betting. If you know your team well and you know their tendencies, you know what they're going to do, you get in on the action as you're watching it in real time, and it makes it a whole lot fun and quite profitable as well. With FanDuel, you can place live bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel, lets you jump into the game at any moment. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL bets live all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, so can you. It is the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. A 16-13 win over the Chiefs, getting ready for the sub 500 Cowboys, who are 2.5-point favorites. We spent a lot of time, Jim. We jumped into this postcast right after the game, squad show, postcast, and we spent most of the first 15 or 20 minutes talking about the defense because they were just absolutely bringing the heat. And you know, there's 4 or 5 guys that I said deserved a tip of the cap: Derwin James, Denzel Perryman, Tony Jefferson, who unfortunately got tossed a little bit early. And I know you have thoughts on that, and you and Kenyon can go back and forth and, you know, discuss whether that was the right or wrong thing. Adafe Owe and Tuli Pelotu with a couple of sacks each. So, I mean, if we get anything even similar, even close to that sort of performance, I think this is a comfortable win for the Chargers. But yeah, what was your thought, Jim, on Tony Jefferson being injected?
Did they put flag belts on everybody before the game and didn't tell me that we were going to start playing flag football now? Come on. That's one of the best, cleanest hits I've seen in weeks. It's perfect. It was a perfect hit. It wasn't a blinds. I didn't knock his teeth out. That's a perfect foot. We're playing football. The idea of the game is to tackle the man and dislodge the ball if you can. I mean, I have a thought about officiating that I don't know if everybody's going to agree with or not, but I have a thought that I think this is going to slow the game down. But I think that leaving these decisions in the hands of real estate guys and bankers and lawyers and whatever the hell else it is that you do when you're not wearing that stupid striped uniform. I want professionals. I want guys that are paid by the league, that are sitting in front of high definition screens and they can roll the slow motion backwards and forward. I want the people in New York making these decisions.
They did. That one came from New York.
Yeah, it was New York.
That one came from up top.
Yeah, that came from up top.
Then how can they get it that wrong? How can you get it that wrong? Because you know what? There's still what I don't like is inconsistency. It's like, if that's the way it's going to be and you're going to call it that way all the time, fine. But is anybody, raise your hand if you think the league gets it right and calls it right every time? No, nobody. They don't. The inconsistency is the frustrating part of it. Is you go out there and one day that it's okay, the next day it's not.
Don't take the football out of football is what KB always says.
And that's exactly what they treated that hit by Tony Jefferson like this was college football. I ran it when we started the show after the game. I won't rant here. But it was absolutely, that was nonsense, complete nonsense. It was a soft call. Again, the receiver went into the fetal position, scared for his life. You're expecting the defender to run full speed, be able to stop, adjust, move his head out the way, get in a lower position, whatever it is to make a tackle. That's just not football. I am a firm believer, and I will stand on it, that the way Tony Jefferson was playing and hitting in that game, they said, oh no, we got to get him out of here. We got to get, and it was against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's not forget who they were playing, right?
Let's not forget that part.
They weren't playing the Cleveland Browns. They weren't playing the Jaguars. They were playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who for as long as I can remember has always gotten favorable calls and things to work in their favor. And so the way Tony Jefferson was playing, if you take him out the game, maybe that kind of leveled the playing field for the Chiefs. But I don't want to, it's a whole rabbit hole we can go down. But the call was nonsense. The call was terrible.
Yep.
I hope he did not get fined for that hit. To your point, Jim, when you're talking about people being in place, I think you need to have players in that position that are reviewing these calls, right? I think that's what you need. And I've been saying this for a number of years, both collegiately and at the NFL level. I think you need to have players who understand the game and who have played the game and who knows what it's like to be in a full speed mode, trying to make a hit or break a tackle. Be referees, be guys that are reviewing these plays. New York needs to bring guys in that have been on that field. A lot of these guys that they're making judgment calls off of what they've been watching for a number of years. You don't know what it's like to be in that helmet and be in those pads and have to make these plays. You don't know the angles. You just don't understand it. And it's no disrespect to them. It's just the cold hard truth. You just don't know unless you've been there.
That's really insightful. Really. I mean, that's something that honestly should get brought up in the meetings about when they sit down to talk about officiating, because you know what? I think that's a groundbreaking idea, actually, Kenyon, is to have people in there that actually played the game. Like you talk about what that player needed to do in order to accomplish that play and satisfy the referees and the fans and everybody at the same time. And that equation becomes impossible. And only a player knows that, because the guy sitting in New York, guess what? Bankers and real estate guys that have elevated themselves up to the New York job instead of standing around in the freezing field. So yeah, maybe that's the answer, is to talk to the Players Association and get more players involved in the officiating process.
One thing about that. Go ahead.
You're expecting. I as an offensive player, I think a lot of these calls against the defense are absolute BS. Like, and I'm a guy who I'm all for. Listen, offensive football. Let's play it. I like rules in my favor, right? That's going to help me score a touchdown, do this. I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, you're expecting defensive players to protect offensive players when my job is to go out here and make tackles. You're expecting defensive players to put themselves at risk in order to protect an offensive player. That's just not football. That's just not fair. It's an unfair advantage, in my opinion.
One of the things
why is Smith-Schuster not ejected for helmet to helmet, crack back, pick play? I mean, that's a dirty play. Kenyon, is that a dirty play? That crack back pick thing? Is that
it's a dirty play? It's an illegal play now, but it wasn't super aggressive. Again, it wasn't it wasn't one of them old school. Yeah, it's helmet to helmet, but at the end of the day, it's not one of them old school hits where where Ed Reed is coming back on an interception and absolutely decleating a guy. It's not that, right? At the end of the day, football is a physical sport. It is a me versus you, me trying to break your will. It's a man trying to dominate another man. That's just that. It's a gladiator sport. Yeah. And so we need to let these dudes be exactly that. Go out there and perform to your highest potential, make the plays that you need to make. And when it's egregious, then we make the call that needs to be made. But if it's just a football play, a football hit, like that Tony Jefferson hit was, listen, there's no penalty, there's no flag. Let the kids play, as Coach Boone would say. Let the kids play.
You need to be in the rules committee.
I just hope that it becomes a billboard, bulletin board material for the Chargers, like a motivating factor, something that gets them to congeal and say, that's how we need to play the whole game and the rest of this season, like with that sort of intensity that brings them even tighter, that they can kind of use that as an example. Does that ever happen, KB, where one play from one guy becomes something that the rest of the team kind of tries to follow and become like a motivation situation for them? Like, let's all play like that and like bring that sort of intensity.
Yeah, it's absolutely counting plays that happen where you're like, it's pointed out in meetings. Listen, that's what we want. That's how we want to play. That's what it should look like. That's what it's when we go out and play, and how it sounded with those pads clacking against them pads, the helmets, that's what it should sound like every single game. So that absolutely happens. I want to add this to Tony Jefferson. He probably got a $25,000 to $30,000 fine for that. For the hit and for the ejection. So again, I digress on T Jeff, but absolutely, Pete, those type of things, those type of conversations happen all the time, whether it's collectively as players or coaches pointing out in meetings.
One of the other things that I feel like this Charger defense is starting to have an identity as, and I know as I was watching the game, I was like, well, they're going to just intercept them right now and win this game, is picking off the opposition. And Derwin James had the late one in the game, and Deion Henley had a fantastic one a little bit before that, where he, just got inside position on the receiver and made a fantastic catch. I look at this defense and I say, I feel like, and I hope that has become something that they are striving to do more. It's not one of those things where if it happens, it happens. Like that's a goal of theirs in the game plan. Let's go out and pick them off. Let's go out and get some interceptions, because that's what we do. Turn this team over. When you look at where the Chargers are right now, I feel like their confidence in the department defensively of turning over the opposition has gone way up. And obviously that's a big factor in being a successful football team. If you can turn over the opposition, from an offensive perspective, we can't turn over the ball. But from a defensive side, we're going to go out and get some turnovers. And I feel like that's become pretty regular for them. And we look at this team and go, do we expect it more now than we did maybe a few weeks back, Jim?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we get hungry for it and we want it and we expect it. And I also need to point out while we're on all of this that, we got a real great snapshot of how well our rookie draft class was. That group of rookies won that football game last Sunday. I mean, they're responsible. That group of rookies is responsible for a big part of getting that W.
Yep.
Yeah, we definitely talked about that after the game. We pointed out the performance. I mean, obviously a nice day. Well, it wasn't huge, but a very clutch performance from KLS, Keandre Lambert.
Huge, Pete. That's huge. That's huge.
Yep.
And no, it's absolutely huge. That absolutely for a guy who has not really played in those spots all season long. I'll go back to when Gaston had his big game, how I was stood on the table for my dude. Like for a guy who isn't typically in that spot, who has not seen the offensive reps that say a Trey has seen, or Keenan Allen or Lad McConkey, that is a absolute huge performance all on one drive, whether it was a kickoff return, the 40-yard kickoff return that set up the drive, or being in position and being able to make that catch where you bobble it a little bit and bring it back in and secure it and take the hit. Oftentimes we associate, and not saying you specifically, but we associate like huge performances with numbers being gaudy.
Right. That's what I was talking about quantity wise. Yeah. Obviously the catch is huge. The play itself is huge, but he only had one catch on the day, but it was a big one.
I will take quality over quantity a million times over. And so, no, it wasn't the quantity, right? It wasn't the 10 catches for 145 or in 3 touchdowns. No, it was one kickoff return that mattered, that put this team in great field position. And then it was a great catch in the back of an end zone where you bobbled the ball, but still had the mind to know where your feet are, take a hit, and put this team up. So no, it wasn't a gaudy game from a number standpoint, but the quality and the few reps that he did get, it goes back to what I said, Pete. Don't count your reps, make them count. And he made his reps count.
Yes, indeed. Aronde Gadsden, 4 catches, 61 yards. That was huge for them as well. Trey Harris, 3 for 49. Keenan is always there, reliable, 5 of 36 on 7 targets. We had some people in the chat mention this a few times today. Lad McConkey, 2 for 20 on only 3 targets. I just want the ball in Lad McConkey's hands more. Yeah. And I've been calling for this for a few weeks. I don't know what's going on other than it's just not working out as far as the way the play develops. And that's nothing to criticize McConkey or Herbert. But I just would like to see them target him a little bit more because he's
just not getting open. Is he just
he's open all the time, and I think that's
I keep hearing that. I even saw it across the lower third. Said you need to get him the ball more. He's open and he's still not getting the ball.
He is open, and it's as KB broke it down after the game. It's about the progressions, and for whatever reasons, the breaks are beating the boys when it comes to McConkey getting the ball. Right? He's just not getting the ball. He's open, and I think that's what's frustrating as we watch. We're screaming, like especially when they do a slow-mo replay. We're like, he's wide open, or he has inside position on a slant route. Like, get him the ball. So, you got to keep grinding at that point, right? Just like KLS, right. He doesn't get a lot of time on the field, but when he does, he gets in there and makes it count. So that's when McConkey, he's on the field all the time. But if he keeps getting open, he's going to find him the ball, right? That's or Herbert's going to get him the ball. He's going to find him. So that to me is huge for them if they can get him the ball a little bit more. And obviously, I don't know what the status on Quentin Johnston is. Have you guys heard anything? He was a late scratch, like right before the game started. So it would be nice to have him back in there. Obviously, I don't think they missed him all that much, but he's definitely an asset and has been having a great season. So Having him back would be fantastic. I don't exactly know what went wrong, but we'll try to look it up here real quick. But as far as the passing game, a lot of mouths to feed. Sometimes that's a problem, but this particular situation with the Chargers, I feel like it's a good thing, with the ability that Herbie has to scramble, or the desire that he has to scramble, the need to scramble more when you've got 4 or 5 receivers out there that are potentially available and open. That's a good situation for him.
Quentin's battling with a groin injury.
The groin. Okay. So would you say day to day?
Assuming that's what it is. I'm assuming that's what it is. And the groin is a tough area because there's there's small muscles in there that could affect you, the actinius and all these adductor longer. There's so many different muscle groups in there that could be affected, but hopefully he'll be all right and be able to get out there this Sunday.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one without a doubt. So when we look at the game plan here for this Cowboys team, with a weak defense, do we feel like we're going to see more of this run game? Give the ball to Omarion early and pound it up.
You have to. I said it earlier. You have to get him in a rhythm. What we've seen from him prior to that fracture in his ankle was a dude that can make these long runs, a dude that falls forward, a dude that has the ability to find those small little holes that a lot of guys miss. And so what you want coming to the tail end of the season, you want to feed him. You want to get him in rhythm, get him comfortable, and get him playing like we know that he can play.
Talk to me real quick about rhythm for a running back. I understand rhythm for a shooter in the NBA. I understand rhythm for a batter in baseball. What's the rhythm like for a running back? Finding the holes.
The rhythm for a running back is simply being out and go out and play and not think. Like when you're not in rhythm, when you're trying to find it, you're thinking about, okay, it's about the flow of the game, being able to feel things. Running back is a feel position. It's not about, you can know all the X's and O's and, the intricate details of how to play running back. But being at that running back spot is being able to feel. A lot of these cuts that guys make, it's a feel. It's not something that they see, but they feel this defender coming over the top, so they cut back. They feel the nine technique widen out or the 5 being hooked. It's a feel thing. So when you talk about rhythm from a running back spot, it's simply Omarion Hampton being in that rhythm to be able to feel what he needs to feel so he can go out there and play without thinking.
So if the play's drawn up the A gap or the B gap, and then that gap is full, you have to, in the split second, identify where to go.
Reaction time, feel, knowing the blocking scheme, knowing how the defensive plan, just being able to get as many repetitions as you can. So if, in my opinion, with this Cowboy defense, obviously they played some good games over the course of the last few games of the season and they really stepped up. But as bad as they are, and we've talked about this versus bad teams on defense, I'm gonna feed that kid. I'm gonna let him go out. I want to see him get a 100-yard game. Like get that confidence, get that bolt of confidence that we need him to have going into these the next 2 games and into the playoffs.
Jim, one of the things. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
One of the things we talked about after the game, it's been a kind of a identity for the Chargers lately, is they play one half. They play the first half one way, and then they go into the locker room and make massive adjustments and come out and play a different game in the second half, which you love to see as a fan, right? Because you're like, if we're getting punched in the mouth one way or the other in the first half, we have confidence that it's going to change at the break. And so I feel like when we get ready for this game, hopefully we see more of that, where the first half is kind of just feeling out the opposition to see what they're bringing and what they've schemed up. And then we go in and make our adjustments and we come back out and have a different identity in the second half. That's a good position to be in for this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And like KB said, I mean, I want to see him feed this kid, man. I want to see him get the ball. You know me. I mean, I think 20 times is the number I'm trying to get to. And you get to 25, I'm even happier. I know that Kamani Vidal has been, I mean, he's earned the right to carry the ball and be part of this offense. And so, I mean, but you look at Detroit. What do they call a Sonic and Knuckles? They've got a thing where I think even those guys have figured out, they're not always on the field. You're not always going to get the touchdown, but They're working as a unit. I think we have the opportunity to run a two-headed running back unit at them like that because Kamani Vidal has been so good. But like one of my first notes here, I have flipped back to this page. One of my first notes of the Chargers-Chiefs game is Hampton looks strong. And he looked like, he's grabbing the ball. He's beating up the ground. He's slamming into people. He looks like he's ready for the contact. He wants to, he's waiting for that workhorse day. And I think this is that workhorse day. And you could come out and change it up at halftime, give them the ball and run thunder and lightning at them or whatever you want to call it in the first half. And if the score allows it, come out in the third quarter and start slinging it and confuse the hell out of them and then get up on them and start running the ball and salt it away in the fourth quarter. I'd like to see the running game be really key in salting this victory away.
I want to see Royce Freeman.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want absolutely, I'm a ride for my guys. But outside of riding for my guys, Royce is a very capable back. He's more than capable. And so he's a big back. He has speed, vision. He can do it all. So I would love to see, even if it's a small dose, let us get some Royce Freeman in there. Let us see what you brought him in for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So
let's see it.
Yeah. So go ahead, put that big back to use.
While we're wishing, can I get some tight end blocking? Huh? Can I get some more blocking out of my tight ends? My quarterback's got to run for his life.
Some 13 personnel.
I want some more of that.
Here's what we got. Chargers with a win and a loss from either the Colts or the Texans. They're in. The Texans have an easy weekend against the Raiders, but the Colts are facing the Niners. So I think with the win, the Chargers will punch their ticket. The other thing we have to keep our eye on, because I know everybody wants to sweep the division and win, come in as the AFC West number 1 seed, is the Denver Broncos are taking on the Jacksonville Jags. And that's in Denver, but that's one of the games that a lot of people have circled as a potential upset for the Jags to come in there and beat the Broncos. So we'll see what happens there.
Really?
Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see that. But listen, the Jacksonville Jaguars are hot. Yeah. I still don't think they're a good football team. I still haven't hopped on that train yet. I have not. I have not hopped on that train yet. And I think they have some good players, but I'm not buying what they're selling. They're selling out, but I'm not buying.
100%. They're hot right now, and they're hot against bad teams. You send them to Denver, and you think they're going to win? You want to put money on that?
I'm not betting it. I'm just telling you what people are talking about. That's all.
Yeah, no, Pete didn't say that. He said that's what the people are saying.
Well, I'm just throwing out to the universe. Anybody wants that bet, I'm interested.
Yeah, I don't, especially there in Denver. I don't see that happening.
Hats are tan, everybody.
All right, let's see what the line is real quick here as we wrap up. 3 points. So it's not dramatic. That's just home field. So I don't know. It's definitely worth watching.
The Broncos getting 3 at home. Is that what you're saying?
No. They're giving up. The Broncos are a 3-point favorite at home.
Right. Can we talk about something?
No.
Sure.
Can we listen? When we talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is my stance on them not being a good football team, right? Since they beat the Chargers, they have played absolutely no one. They've played the Arizona Cardinals, the Tennessee Titans, the Indianapolis Colts, and the New York Jets. Who in the heck have we played that would say that the Jacksonville Jaguars are a good football team? They're not. They played piss poor teams with piss poor rosters who are not good, and they've won. They did what they were supposed to do, all right? So I guess that's one of the markings of a good team, winning the games that you're supposed to win. But at the end of the day, listen, if I played the Cleveland Browns 17 games in a row and I went and I go 17-0, does that make me a good football team? No, it does not.
Do they still owe you money? Did you play for the Jags at some point?
He's still mad at losing that game earlier this year.
I am. I'm still triggered by that. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, the Giants took him by surprise, and the rookie and all. I mean, I give him a pass on that one. I don't give him a pass on the Jaguars. That was an awful mistake. That was looking ahead, and hopefully it doesn't cost me. Doesn't look like.
No, I agree. Look,
give me the Jaguars in the playoffs, would you please? Can I play them again, please?
Oh, yeah, that would be nice. Look, I agree. The Colts were good. They're not good anymore. So they beat the Colts 36-19. So I agree. But I'm usually like UKB, where my mind is made up about somebody and I'm not willing to change it about this team. Like they're bad. And I'm like, they're not bad. They're not good, but they're not bad. And they're definitely in the playoff picture because that division's garbage. So
do you know who Riley Leonard is?
No.
Exactly. That's the quarterback that played in that game versus Jacksonville for the Indianapolis Colts.
There you go.
Let's come on now.
Thank you.
Come on.
There you go.
Well, yeah. I would rather getting that if they win the AFC West, that'd be good, right? That would mean a bye, correct? Or is only the top 2 seeds? So
only the top 2 seeds get by.
Yeah, so it's the Broncos more than likely. But who knows? Because they're only a game behind them right now. So they're still in play for that first round bye. Mm-hmm. That would be nice. But I think I would rather be the team that's coming in with a chip on their shoulder, momentum, winning tight games, winning in spite of everyone thinking that they will win, that they're going to lose because their offensive line stinks. I think I'd rather be that team to face off against the Steelers again, because we know that we can beat them.
Yeah.
Now Steelers have gotten a little bit better, but the Chargers dominated them in that game. There was not much of anything going on in that game for the Steelers. So I like our chances if that is our opening round playoff matchup. The opening round bye doesn't mean anything, right? As a matter of fact, it means that you're losing momentum sitting around trying to get healthy and waiting. Maybe. So I'm never a huge fan of that. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But the bottom line is this Charger team is going in the right direction, and that's good. So let's hope they go out and get an easy one this weekend against the Cowboys, and then face off against the tough Houston Texans defense. So that's what's ahead. And then the final week of the season against the Broncos could be a big game.
Could be huge.
Huge. Yeah. So
especially if the Jacksonville Jaguars go in there and beat the Broncos at Mile High.
Listen, if the Jacksonville Jaguars go in there and beat the Denver Broncos, I still won't change my tone. No,
listen, I'm not advocating that anyone wager on the Jags over the Broncos. Some people are looking at that and talking about it. And at this point, I'm going to be rooting for the Jags just to prove you guys wrong.
Well, listen, if you root against us and the Denver Broncos go out there and win, now that last game of the season is going to be a dogfight.
All right. Okay. Maybe I won't pay attention at all. Well, look, there's some good matchups this weekend. I think that could be one of them. Obviously, the game of the week is tomorrow. Rams and Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. So, it's this time of year, it's way more exciting. It's definitely more exciting than the middle of the season. Things are definitely on the line, and that's what we like to see. So we'll be paying attention a little bit more closely as there are implications for the Chargers. That's going to do it for us here on the Locked On Midweek Chargers Squad Show. For Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the league, Jim Daniels, I am Pete Fox. We appreciate you guys watching and listening. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you on Sunday. Take care.